Welcome to Lasting Memories, where Nancy shares heartfelt tributes to remarkable lives that continue to be remembered with love and admiration. This channel honors unforgettable figures from film, music, culture, and beyond, celebrating the moments, achievements, and influence they left behind. Join us as we preserve their stories and keep their legacy shining brightly through every memory. Ben Vishala Thapa, born on March 2, 1982, was a British opera singer known for his work as a low tenor with the classical crossover group G4, where he performed from 2004 to 2018. Born in Cambridge, his early life involved significant personal challenges, including being raised by his mother after his father left when he was young and later entering foster care at the age of 11. During these difficult years, music became an important source of stability and expression for him, helping shape the path he would eventually follow. He began developing his musical abilities through singing lessons and participation in a local church choir. He also studied the clarinet at Hills Road Sixth Form College, building a broader foundation in music. His dedication led him into formal classical training, first at the Royal Northern College of Music, and later at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, where he completed his studies in 2004. He continued refining his vocal craft at the Wales International Academy of Voice, graduating in 2013. His career reflected persistence, discipline, and a strong connection to music shaped by both training and lived experience. He passed away, with the cause of death not publicly disclosed. He is remembered for his voice, his journey through adversity, and his contribution to bringing classical and crossover music to wider audiences. Eliseo Rodriguez Delgado was a Puerto Rican professional baseball catcher who built a respected career in Major League Baseball through persistence, discipline, and steady development. He passed away at the age of 79, leaving behind a legacy shaped by hard work and commitment to the sport. Born on May 24, 1946, in Fajardo, Puerto Rico, he moved to New York City in 1953, where he grew up near Yankee Stadium. Surrounded by baseball culture, he developed a strong passion for the game and admired players like Yogi Berra. During his youth, he also practiced amateur boxing, which reflected his athletic drive and determination. He later graduated from James Monroe High School in the Bronx in 1964. He began his professional baseball journey in 1964, working his way through the minor leagues as a catcher. Those early years were focused on learning, improving his defensive skills, and building the consistency needed for higher levels of competition. His gradual progress eventually led him to the major leagues. Rodriguez made his MLB debut in 1968 with the New York Yankees. Over the years until 1976, he played for several teams including the Kansas City Royals, Milwaukee Brewers, California Angels, and Los Angeles Dodgers. While he was never a major star, he was valued for his reliability, defensive strength, and professionalism behind the plate. He is remembered as a dedicated player whose career reflects patience, steady effort, and the ability to succeed through perseverance over time. Ava T. H. Brand was an American scholar and educator whose life was defined by a deep commitment to learning, teaching, and intellectual exploration. Born on January 1, 1929 in Berlin into a Jewish family, she fled Nazi Germany in 1941 and rebuilt her life in the United States, an experience that deeply influenced her lifelong engagement with history, philosophy, and Western thought. She studied at Brooklyn College, earning her bachelor's degree in 1950, and later completed a master's in classics along with a PhD in archaeology at Yale University. Her academic path eventually led her to St. John's College in Annapolis, where she became a central figure in its educational tradition. Over many decades, she served as a tutor and later as dean, earning a reputation for rigorous thinking, clarity of insight, and a teaching style that encouraged careful dialogue and reflection. She worked closely with the college's Great Books program and helped sustain its intellectual character, carrying forward ideas shaped by her early mentor, Jacob Klein. In recognition of her contributions to education and the humanities, she received the National Humanities Medal in 2005. She passed away at the age of 95, with the exact cause of death not publicly disclosed, leaving behind a lasting legacy in American academic life. Happy Traum, born Harry. Peter Traum, on May 9, 1938, grew up in the Bronx in a culturally diverse family with German Jewish, English, and Dutch roots. From an early age, he was drawn to music, eventually finding his way into the vibrant folk scene that gathered around Washington Square Park. Those informal jam sessions became an important foundation for his musical identity and lifelong connection to folk traditions. He He studied at the High School of Music and Art, where his creative interests were further shaped in a supportive artistic environment. Later, he attended New York University, continuing to build both his education and musical direction. By the late 1950s and into the 1960s, he had become part of the Greenwich Village folk movement, a period known for collaboration, storytelling, and a deep sense of cultural exchange among musicians. As his career developed, he became closely linked with the Woodstock music community, where he contributed not only as a performer but also as a teacher and mentor. He shared his knowledge with younger musicians, helping preserve and pass on traditional folk styles. Happy Traum passed away at the age of 86. His exact cause of death was not widely publicized. He is remembered for his role in shaping and supporting the American folk music tradition through both performance and education. Mary Clara Costello was an American actress known for her steady, thoughtful performances across television, film, and theater. She built a career focused on craft and authenticity rather than fame, earning respect as a reliable and emotionally grounded performer. Born on February 3, 1936 in Peoria, Illinois, she grew up during a time when American television and cinema were rapidly expanding, which helped shape her interest in acting and storytelling from an early age. She later trained in New York City and became associated with the Actors Studio, where she developed a method-based approach to acting centered on emotional truth and realism. This foundation guided her early work in theater, where she gained experience and honed her ability to portray complex, believable characters. Her transition to screen acting brought wider recognition. One of her most notable roles was in The Waltons, where she played Rosemary Hunter Fordwick, a character that added warmth and emotional depth to the series. She also starred in The Fitzpatricks, portraying a working-class mother with natural realism. Over the years, she made guest appearances in popular shows such as Murder, She Wrote, and Chicago Hope, further establishing her reputation as a strong character actress. In film, she appeared in projects like Let's Scare Jessica to Death, 1971, Ordinary People, 1980, and Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, 1984, showing her range across different genres. Later in life, she shifted her focus to teaching acting, including at Loyola Marymount University, where she mentored students in emotional honesty and character work. She passed away in New York City at the age of 90. Her legacy remains rooted in quiet excellence, discipline, and a lifelong commitment to the art of acting. This narrative reflects the life of Dolly Parton in a more grounded, human-centered way, focusing on her emotional journey, creative resilience, and personal transformation. Instead of treating her story as a simple rise to fame timeline, it highlights how identity is shaped through struggle, environment, relationships, and inner strength. From a childhood marked by poverty to becoming a global cultural figure, her path shows how talent alone is never enough without persistence and emotional endurance. It also explores how fame brings both opportunity and pressure, often existing side by side. The aim is to present her journey as a continuous evolution of a woman navigating ambition, responsibility, love, loss, and purpose in a world that constantly watched her every move. Early life in the Smoky Mountains. Dolly Parton's early life began in a remote mountain cabin in Tennessee, where simplicity and hardship shaped everyday existence. Growing up in a large family meant sharing limited resources, yet it also created strong emotional bonds. Life was not defined by comfort, but by togetherness, creativity, and survival. Her parents worked tirelessly, often under difficult conditions, to support their children. Despite financial struggles, there was warmth in the household, especially through storytelling and music. These early surroundings gave her both emotional sensitivity and a deep understanding of human struggle. The environment around her was quiet but rich in cultural traditions, which later influenced her artistic voice. Even as a child, she absorbed the rhythms of life around her, unknowingly preparing for a future shaped by expression and storytelling. Childhood poverty and school experiences. As she grew older, Dolly became increasingly aware of social differences between herself and other children. School exposed her to feelings of exclusion and embarrassment due to her worn clothing and humble background. These experiences were not just about poverty, but about how poverty is perceived by others. While she felt love at home, the outside world often made her feel invisible or different. However, instead of breaking her spirit, these challenges helped her develop emotional depth. She learned to observe people closely, understanding pain, pride, and vulnerability at a young age. These emotions later became central to her songwriting. Her early struggles did not define her limits. Instead, they shaped her determination to rise beyond circumstances and express what many others were unable to say. Musical foundations and early expression music entered Dolly's life naturally through her family environment. Songs were part of daily living, whether through church gatherings, family moments, or quiet evenings at home. She discovered early that music could express emotions that words alone could not. Even as a child, she began writing simple lyrics, showing a strong sense of imagination and rhythm. Her voice carried emotional clarity that stood out even in small community performances. These early moments were not about fame, but about connection and expression. Music became her way of processing life, joy, and hardship. This foundation gave her confidence to believe that her voice had meaning beyond her immediate surroundings. It was during these formative years that her artistic identity quietly began to take shape. Journey toward Nashville. Leaving home as a teenager marked a major turning point in her life. With limited resources but strong determination, she traveled to Nashville with the hope of building a career in music. The transition was emotionally intense, as she left behind family, familiarity, and security. Nashville represented both opportunity and uncertainty. She arrived with ambition but quickly realized that talent alone did not guarantee acceptance. The city was competitive and often indifferent to newcomers. Despite this, she remained focused on her goal. The early days were filled with uncertainty, but also with learning experiences that strengthened her resilience. Each challenge helped her understand the realities of the music industry, shaping her into a more determined and self-aware artist. Early struggles in the industry life in Nashville was far from easy. She faced financial hardship, rejection, and emotional exhaustion while trying to establish herself. Opportunities were limited, and many doors remained closed despite her talent. The industry often judged her based on appearance and style rather than artistic ability. However, she continued to write songs and perform wherever possible. These years tested her patience and belief in herself. Instead of giving up, she used rejection as motivation to improve and refine her craft. The struggle also deepened her understanding of human emotion, which later became a defining feature of her music. These early challenges were essential in building the resilience that would eventually carry her forward in her career. Breaking into the music scene. Her first professional opportunities came gradually, often through small contracts and modest performances. These initial steps were not glamorous, but were crucial in building her reputation. A breakthrough came when her songwriting and voice began to attract attention within the industry. Even though the work conditions were not ideal, she viewed every opportunity as progress. She learned how the business operated and how to navigate creative limitations. This phase marked her transition from hopeful newcomer to recognized talent. It also introduced her to the complexities of commercial music production, where artistic vision often had to compete with business expectations. Despite these challenges, she continued to grow steadily. Partnership and career growth. A significant turning point came when she joined a major television platform alongside an established country performer. This opportunity brought her into the public eye and gave her national exposure. While it helped her career grow, it also introduced new pressures and expectations. She had to balance gratitude for the opportunity with the need to maintain her individuality. Over time, creative differences emerged, especially regarding artistic direction and personal expression. These experiences taught her the importance of autonomy in her work. Although the partnership helped her rise in popularity, it also became a lesson in understanding personal boundaries within professional relationships. Struggle for creative independence. As her career expanded, she began to feel restricted creatively. Decisions about music, image, and performance were often influenced by others, limiting her artistic freedom. This period became emotionally challenging as she wanted to express herself more authentically. The tension between control and creativity grew stronger over time. She continued to write privately, using songwriting as a way to maintain her identity. These personal compositions reflected her desire for independence and emotional truth. Eventually, she reached a point where reclaiming her artistic voice became necessary. This phase highlighted her growing awareness of self-worth and the importance of creative ownership in her career. A song that became a farewell. One of her most meaningful songs was written during a period of emotional transition. It was not just a musical composition, but an expression of closure and personal freedom. When released, it resonated deeply with audiences because of its sincerity and emotional depth. The song became a defining moment in her career, marking her shift toward independence. it was also a reminder that art often reflects personal experience. Through this work, she was able to transform emotional difficulty into something universally understood. The success of the song reaffirmed her belief in honesty as the foundation of meaningful creativity. Rise to global recognition. Following her creative independence, her career reached new heights. She produced music that crossed genres and appealed to diverse audiences. Her storytelling ability and emotional honesty became her signature strengths. With growing recognition, she became a global figure in entertainment. Despite fame, she remained focused on authenticity rather than image. Her work during this period demonstrated artistic maturity and confidence. She also expanded into film and other creative fields, further establishing her versatility. This stage of her life reflected both professional success and personal evolution, showing how sustained effort and originality can lead to lasting impact. Building a cultural legacy beyond music, she created long-lasting cultural contributions, including ventures that supported tourism, employment, and community development. One of her most notable achievements was a theme park that reflected her roots and values. This project symbolized her connection to home and her desire to give back. It became a space where creativity, culture, and economic opportunity intersected. Her business ventures showed that her influence extended beyond entertainment. She used her success to support others, particularly in regions similar to where she grew up. This phase demonstrated her ability to turn personal history into meaningful social contribution, marriage, and personal balance. Her personal life included a long-term marriage built on privacy and simplicity. Unlike her public career, her relationship remained mostly away from attention. This contrast between public fame and private life created both balance and emotional distance. While her partner preferred a quiet lifestyle, her career demanded constant visibility. Managing this difference required understanding and adaptation from both sides. Despite challenges, she often described her marriage as stable and grounding. However, the demands of fame naturally created periods of emotional distance. This aspect of her life highlights the complexity of maintaining personal relationships while living in the public eye. Emotional pressure of fame. As her fame grew, so did emotional pressure. Constant attention, responsibility, and expectations created moments of exhaustion. At times, she experienced emotional lows despite professional success. The contrast between public admiration and private fatigue was significant. She often continued working through difficult periods, relying on discipline and creativity. Support from close companions helped her navigate emotional challenges. Over time, she learned to prioritize mental well-being and personal boundaries. These experiences reflect the hidden side of fame, where success does not always guarantee emotional stability. Her journey shows the importance of resilience and self-awareness in sustaining a long career. Reflection and personal growth. Later in life, she became more reflective about her journey. She often spoke about gratitude, perseverance, and the importance of staying true to oneself. Her experiences shaped a philosophy centered on kindness and purpose. Rather than focusing only on achievements, she emphasized emotional fulfillment and giving back to others. This stage of her life represents maturity and acceptance of both success and struggle. Her story demonstrates that personal growth is continuous and shaped by every phase of life. Through reflection, she transformed her experiences into wisdom that continues to inspire many across generations.